Kickstarter was our like initial go-to-market strategy. Beyond that, we didn't raise money. And our idea was to just kind of start getting it out there and get a feel for who the customer was. Like we're a eco-friendly shaving company. And I think what benefits us is that we led with good product first.
This always happens like brand building. You go onto the market thinking you have this core customer, and then you start developing out a completely different customer.
My favorite reviews aren't, I switched to Leaf and now I don't throw plastic razors away. It's, I switched to Leaf and oh my God, I've never had a shave this good.
Let's make it weird and different, sit on the shelves and be the weirdos on the shelf.
Hey friends, welcome to Above the Fold podcast. I'm your host, Jess Servion. We're going to be talking about everything in your customer's journey. You're going to learn things about customer experience, brand experience, and marketing secrets that help you drive your brand success. So stay tuned, buckle up, and let's get into the episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Above the Fold. I am your host, Jess. This week, I am in New York City, where I feel like is my second home, except I don't rent or own anything here. And I am with my friend, Adam Simone, who is co-founder of Leaf Shave and Smoosh.
Hey, cool. Yeah. I'm really happy to be here for a few reasons. I like doing podcasts, but number two, I'm excited to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, we're literally going to get to know each other in this moment.
Awesome.
You know, I came up to Adam at a happy hour a couple weeks ago. And I was like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast and talk about brand building? And we barely knew each other, but we're about to be besties.
I'm down. Let's talk.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into anything, Adam, you fucking build brands. Like you do the jams, right? But I really want to talk about your background first.
Okay.
Tell the audience. Well, first tell the audience a little bit about Leaf and Smoosh, and then about your background.
Yeah, no problem. So the two brands that I own, I'm co-founder of both of them with the same co-founder. His name is also Adam, by the way.
Two Adams.
Just two Adams smashing together.
Two Adams, two products.
And Leaf Shave, we make sustainable focus personal care tools, primarily in the shaving space. We've been around since 2018, so it's my more mature brand. And then last year, about 12 months ago, actually, to today almost, we launched Smoosh, which is a bit of a better mousetrap kind of approach to body care in the shower. It's a silicone body scrubber with an embedded bar soap in the middle of it. It's just this wild little thing, and we're really excited about it. But it's definitely the baby brand.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's so cool. I actually love it. I need to get one because I always use a body scrubber.
I'll hook you up.
Well, thanks. But I will also support a friend and purchase. Okay, well, before we get into like you building the brands, I want you to talk about your mechanical engineering background.
Yeah, okay. So Adam and I are both mechanical engineers, so we have no business sense between the two of us. Just kidding. I pretend to have some business sense. We met at another startup in the medical technology space, could not be further from CPG or consumer e-com, in 2009, actually. And we were building robotics for surgery in the orthopedic space. So we were on a small team that spun out technology from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh that was a novel approach to a more precise way of putting in knee replacements. And we took that from a lab experiment in a university to a commercialized good and scalable technology that eventually got acquired by a multinational in 2016. And that was my entry point into entrepreneurship. And it taught me a lot about what a venture-backed business looked like, what I didn't want in a business if I was ever going to own something, and also about like owning my own destiny.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. It was a fun time, and it set the roots for where we are today.
Yeah. Isn't that so nuts? Like how you end up in the startup space and then you figure out these things about yourself. Like, wait, I'm an entrepreneurial spirit. You know?
I thought I was going to be an engineer behind a desk and a computer for the rest of my life when I studied in undergrad. And it turned out I actually preferred being out in the world and like talking to people and marketing things. Who knew?
Yeah. But it's the autonomy of it. You know, it's like I think I'm so addicted to startups. Like, okay, so I guess like my Feastables was my 6th startup.
Oh, wow.
And then if you consider my own startup right now, right? Like Open Lane and my product I'm coming out with, that would be like my 8th. like a 7th and 8th.
You're like 7 ahead of me.
Dude, but I'm so addicted
Yeah.
to that startup environment. Like there's something in this, you're going to laugh at this. There's something about when your email is just first name at the company that is just like a badge of fucking honor. You know what I mean?
I know. Unfortunately, I could never have that because there were two Adams.
Two Adams. Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, there's something about startups that are just like, there's some, I don't know. It's not for everybody. Truthfully, it's not for everybody. But I think startups are just really
What is it about us that like are attracted to that? Is it that we just can't conform to other people? Are we just like bad workers? I think I might be a bad worker.
Okay. I think I'm hard to manage.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, actually, shout out to my old boss, Jim from Feastables, because he jokingly and lovingly said I was hard to manage at my wedding.
Wow.
But I honestly think it's because, and I don't think like hard to manage, like, oh, you're like a bad person. I think it's just because like when you have this entrepreneurial spirit, you like want the autonomy, you want to be able to like do strategic like thinking, but you want to iterate and try things out and you don't want to like work in like this confined, here's your responsibilities.
Yes. My favorite way to work is hole myself up in like a hotel room and just like build. I just want to build and make things. And making things is why I became an engineer. But what I didn't realize is that you could make things and not actually have to engineer them. Like building a business is making things. Making a go-to-market plan for a new product launch is making things.
Dude.
Writing a blog post for content is making things. And it doesn't really matter the scale. I just want to make.
Yeah, just make and just try, right? Just try it on, make an iteration of it. Totally, dude. Like totally. I think we can like really get into it. But let's talk.
Okay, cool.
Let's talk about you making Leaf. So what like all right, so we end this career at, well, not career, but like position at the robotics.
Yeah.
And what made you and Adam like decide that you wanted to
Okay,
do
so
Leaf?
there was overlap.
Okay.
We sold
As
that
there should
company in 2016, but we incorporated Leaf in 2012.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, nights and weekends, Adam and I actually remember the moment he came downstairs at our office in Pittsburgh in 2012, and we were the only two people working late that night. And we're hard workers, right? And that's what you need to be when you start your own business. And we were friends at the time. And he said, Adam, I have an idea for a razor, for a new kind of razor. I've always struggled with shaving. It's uncomfortable for my skin. I cut myself. I get ingrown hair. I've tried like new razors, classic razors. I haven't found something that fit, but I have a new idea. Do you want to try joining me on like making this happen? And I didn't think a second about it. I was like, yes, absolutely. I didn't even hear the idea. I didn't like think to ask him like, well, what does that mean? What does a partnership look like? I was just like, absolutely, yes. This is someone I respect. And I got really excited just by the idea of doing something on our own.
Yeah.
And so, for 4 years, nights and weekends, we started developing and engineering and prototyping. And that first idea he had, it didn't work. It took us about 18 months to figure out it didn't work. And we had to pivot. But that was the genesis.
How do you go about prototyping?
Yeah. So, I mean, especially for like truly novel inventions, which is what our razors at Leaf are. We have utility patents around them. There are new innovations in 150 years of shaving like history. And that comes with a tremendous amount of trial and error. I mean, obviously we have a leg up because we can design in the computer space. We can use CAD and like develop and design mechanisms that work. And then we print them out. Our first level of prototyping is like 3D printing. So plastic, we print them out. And that's always scary with a razor because it's about really precisely controlling where the blades are. And it's kind of scary to print something in plastic for the first time and take it to your skin.
Dude, yeah.
So we're always testing on ourselves. And that was a weird time for a few years, getting comfortable with like making a razor and what goes into that.
Yeah. And then how did you go about like, okay, so you've made the prototype, you've done the things, you've tested on yourself.
Yeah.
But how did you go about like gathering other users? Like, because I mean, I feel like we can develop a product, but then at some point you become so insular in that product that you have to get an opinion outside of you.
Disagree.
Oh,
Largely because, and this is maybe one of my biggest weaknesses, is that we form these like very strongly held opinions, and a lot of times if you go to people, and you'll get this like designed by committee approach of feedback, and sometimes you just need to have like a very strong opinion. And if you feel like this needs to exist, then you make it exist, and you hope I don't know if this is the right way or not. This is how we've done it. Like, we just hope that it's the right approach.
Yeah.
And we will it into life. So we had very few people beyond ourselves use these products out of the gate.
Yeah.
And that did cause some interesting issues. For example, the core customer was a lot different than what we thought it might be after we launched, and we have to be very quick to iterate.
Yes.
But yeah, we tend not to get a ton of feedback.
But I think that's okay. Like, I love feedback because I love data. I'm a like data girl. Like, you're an engineer, I'm a data girl. Like, I want to be in the analytics, right? But I agree with you. I agree with your disagreement about like you don't need a lot of feedback, because I think the opinion outside of you matters for sure. So like, 4 or 5 people in your circle. But I do think that we kind of get held up when we get too much feedback.
Yes.
That it creates like an imposter syndrome.
Yeah, at some point you have to just move. You have to move it forward.
Yeah, and I do think that a lot of founders get caught up with like, I need to get this so perfect in the beginning, but if you don't get it to market, and you don't get the actual customer buying from you feedback.
Those are the people that matter.
Right.
If they plop money down, not like Joe Schmo across the street
who has a fucking opinion.
He's not even going to buy it anyways, but he's going to give you his opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you, so prototype, you like put it on the market, you do all the things. Like, I'm just so interested, like, how did you go from prototype to production?
We kickstarted it. So we ran a Kickstarter in 2016, and like the hook on the core product line at that point, like the innovation was a safety razor that had modern features. So multiple blades, a pivoting head, had never been done before. And so we went to Kickstarter with it, and we set ourselves, we're like, let's raise $100,000 because that sounds like a nice number. And if we can do that, enough people will have given us money, and maybe that's proof of a market for this. Yeah. And we raised like $115,000. And so like, okay, cool. We squeaked over it. Not enough for first production run. And so we had to like plow more money into it. But that's how we started. We got our first 1,500 customers that way. Yeah. And we haven't looked back.
I actually was considering for myself, like doing a Kickstarter campaign. I just like don't even know how to navigate it.
It's really scary. And we've done it twice. We did it with our second razor we launched in like 2021. And I don't think we would do it again. It's very public. And I don't love that. Like, your success and failures there are extremely public. It's also not exactly the real market. Like, Kickstarter is its own little thing. And I mean, I haven't been on there in 4 years, so it might even be dramatically different today. But I felt like it was useful, but it would, if success or failure there doesn't dictate success or failure out in the real world.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've seen some brands like do it and like be really successful, but then some brands like not do it, And like, I think what's an interesting point that you did bring up is that like the market there is like so different, and it's like you can get these customer base and you can make these like, here's these rewards for doing the things, but then if you don't deliver, they're also like the most insane too. I've seen that side of it, Oh,
they're extremely high expectation customers when they're paying below like commercial value. So they're this weird, like, they're not going to pay you a lot of money, but they're going to expect a lot from you.
Right. Yeah. It's like a weird YouTube community.
Yeah, it is weird. And thank God for them, because like they were our first customers, and a lot of them are still with us today.
Yeah, for sure. But like on the bad end of like where it goes,
That's
like
right.
I've seen it go. Whew.
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay, Kickstarter. I did the jams.
Yeah.
Now I'm on market. Like, so tell me more about like your just like go to market strategy.
Yeah.
Just like put the shit out there.
So Kickstarter was our like initial go-to-market strategy, and then beyond that, we didn't raise money, so we didn't have a ton of money, and our idea was to just kind of start getting it out there and get a feel for who the customer was. And we pretty early on, we saw an appetite from an interesting customer segment we hadn't entirely anticipated, although we had in some small ways, but the eco-friendly crowd. So we were just trying to make a better razor. right? And we were starting to see purchases from some small shops in the like refillery and eco space. And obviously this was in the back of our mind because we named the company Leaf. And the reason we named it Leaf was a bit of an homage, a nod to like an earth friendly, because it strips plastic away from the shaving process. You know, it's completely metal, the blades are recyclable, it's a more sustainable way to shave, but that was not like the core promise. We just wanted to make a better razor. And yeah, and so we saw that pretty early on and we leaned entirely into it. Now is the entire identity of the company now is like we're a eco-friendly shaving company. And I think what benefits us is that we led with good product first. And that is the most important thing.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean, this always happens again too, in just like brand building. You go onto the market thinking you have this core customer.
Yeah.
And then you start developing out a completely different customer.
Yeah. That happened for our second brand, Smoosh, too. Like I thought when we launched it last year that it was going to be our Leaf customers were going to be Smoosh customers.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. Like it's an
Really?
entirely different customer base. So frustrating, but like
But it kind of a good challenge though.
Very
Because
good
it's like you have Leaf and then you have Smoosh.
Yeah.
And you can have two different, it's kind of like a side hustle to your hustle.
yeah, it's a litmus test. We can
Yes.
they work so differently.
Yeah. When I do a lot of like brand strategy advisement, and for a lot of brands who are coming onto the market, and I wouldn't say a lot of brands, like let me rephrase that. Okay. A few. Okay. But what's so interesting is we'll talk about like their go-to-market strategy and we'll do all the things and we'll do the positioning and I'll look at the stack. And I always caveat at the end of it and I say, you're going to look at this and in 6 months when you launch, you're going to have a completely different customer that's in here and you need to make room for iteration on that.
Yeah.
And not all of them, but I do recall this one conversation like, no, we're thinking about all of them. I was like, my dudes.
Thinking
My dudes.
and what the market tells you are two completely different things so often.
Yeah. Well, also the market changes,
Yeah,
right? Like our
totally.
consumer behavior today is going to be so different in 5 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like think about how like sustainability and overall,
It's
has
way
really-
different now than it was like during the pandemic.
Dude, so different, right? So different. And I think like we think a lot about, I think what I'm seeing a lot of shifts on is like microplastics and like such a focus on that. And it's not even, I mean, when I was younger, I remember it was more about the environment and now it's like very much like environment and like what we're like internalizing.
Yeah, what we're taking into our bodies. Oh yeah, we see a lot of like microplastic talk and like no tox or low tox communities gravitating, and how much you believe or not believe about like some of the more extreme views in those areas. It is what it is, but like these are driving consumer behavior maybe even more than like just generally, like you said, eco friendly stuff did 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It'll be interesting to watch how it shifts in the next 5 years though.
Yeah.
And like the next 10 years and all of those.
Oh gosh, who knows?
Yeah. Well, okay, let's go into, oh my God. See, now I'm stuck in my head about it. Smoosh, but like I'm so afraid I'm going to say
Some
it
people
wrong.
call it smush. It's SMOOSH.
And it's not that hard.
No, I mean, it's like you smoosh two things together.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was the intention. And I didn't realize it was going to be hard.
It's not that hard, but now I'm like self-conscious thinking I'm going to say it wrong.
Good. That's what I want out of my host here.
Imposter syndrome. Okay, well, I would love to like know. So you obviously have Leaf on the market.
Yeah.
But at what point were you and Adam like, I want to develop a secondary product?
Yeah. So
And a second brand at that.
Idiots, I'll tell you. We have always wanted to have a multi-brand approach in our like portfolio. That has been a desire of ours. And we didn't know what the right one was going to be. We have a litany of potential ideas that, given time we would develop, but we actually weren't planning to do it. So this came out of a product that we were making for Leaf. So one of the things that we make for Leaf Shave is a shave bar, like a solid bar soap to help people like get away from like the plastic goop and like the plastic bottles. And it's a good shave bar, but a lot of our customers are body shavers, women who shave in the shower. I shave in the shower in my head, and it doesn't lather as well when you're just like doing this on your hands. So we're like, how do we help people lather their shave bar soap better in the shower? because like guys who shave at the sink can whip it up in a shave bowl and brush, and like that's cool, that works really well, but there wasn't anything for folks in the shower. And that's when we had the idea of like this silicone body scrubber. So it's like a forever like scrubber part, and you put the shave bar in the middle, and you could like rub it on your legs and then shave, and it lathers better. And it worked. And then we're like, oh, wait a minute. This could just be for body washing in general.
Yeah.
And we were faced with the tough decision of like, do we launch this with Leaf for the problem solution that we had designed it for, or do we spin out an entirely new brand? And we went with the later.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so tell me, owning 2 brands. Tell me.
It's a big sigh. It's a big sigh. It's a lot. It is a constant tension, both for myself as the owner and for my team members and for my expectations in general. It's a tension between like, where do we put our time and energy? The obvious tension there is like Leaf is a lot bigger, and therefore like all of our time should go, like our time there has the bigger impact, and Smoosh is so much smaller that it's really hard to justify for my team members or even myself. Like if I'm faced with 2 similar tasks, it's a bigger magnitude impact on Leaf than it is on Smoosh. But you have to spend the time on Smoosh to grow it. And we're a year in, and we've carved out enough time to find some good market fit and some good messaging points. And we've got very good early signals. It's going to start scaling this year, but it's been a real challenge on priorities.
Yeah, I bet.
Ugh.
You know, I bet. I mean, I get it. Like, not product led.
Yeah.
But one is product and one is an agency, but I have multiple brands too. And it's like, I'm constantly channel switching throughout my day to like, prioritize things on each one.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. But a question that actually came up while you were talking in my head was that, okay, so it's the same team for Leaf and Smoosh?
Yeah, it is the same team. And I actually thought it would be easier for that to be easier, but it's actually mostly, it's largely on the marketing side is just me. So I have a team of 4 marketers on Leaf, and they give like 5% of time in any given month to Smoosh, but I thought it was going to be easier to get them to kind of switch. But for fairness for my team, I'm not forcing them to be like, you have to now double your workout, but that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm mostly like taking the lift right now, and we have some freelance support too, which is very helpful. But yeah, I don't know. So it's kind of the same team, but also I've had to like piece together some external resources too.
Well, I mean, I think that's like fair to the rest of your
It's
team,
totally fair. I'm so had unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, you're a good leader is what you're telling me. You're not like, you don't have the expectations of like, I want you to double the work for the little of the pay. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to pay you anymore, but I'd like you to launch
just
2
do
brands.
it all. Thank you. But the reason I asked you that is because I'm curious, as just like a business owner and owning these 2 brands, how do you find your in-house team? Like, how do you find that talent, and what do you look for those individuals that like they have to ensure that they have that kind of like entrepreneurial spirit too? Because being an operator and a founder are 2 different things.
Very different things. I think we have a really fairly chill vibe at Leaf. Like one of the benefits of being bootstrapped or self-funded is that like we don't have like external growth goals that we have to hit. We have grown, but it's pretty relaxed. Like we don't have like a grind. I have a grind.
Right.
And that's just my own internal engine. But I think my team is like, has a really good work-life balance. We don't ask them to work outside of work hours. We don't push them on weekends for anything. Like, you know, it's pretty like come in, achieve the communication and marketing plan, and let's have some fun and let's try some new things. And we'll fail a lot. It doesn't matter. We have found them through personal networks, through like Indeed and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And we have a very low attrition rate, but I think everyone's hopefully is pretty happy. And we have like just a chill work.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's sometimes hard to find people that can like thrive in that startup environment.
Yeah.
And be with you, like in the trenches.
It is hard.
Know?
I think it's actually fairly unfair to ask your whole team to be in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I feel like yeah, I mean, I would rather than be able to log off, and I'm happy to take the trenches over the weekend.
Dude, same. I mean,
Yeah.
same. Like, so my girls with Open Late, like, they mostly work on the CX side, and I do all of the marketing stuff.
Right.
But and CX is like something that's always on, right?
That's so hard.
It's always on.
Yeah.
But my two girls, one was my right hand at Feastables, and then the other one is like one of my girlfriends that I've known for like 12, 13 years, right? Yeah. So it's like we have a level of respect where it's like I've known you a long time and I do never want to disrespect you, you know? And I always tell them, I'm like, holidays, Monday through Friday, like you handle Monday through Friday, holidays you be off, weekends I'll take it because I am the owner of the business, you know?
That's our responsibility.
It's our responsibility. But I've been on the operator end working under founders who like did not respect my boundaries.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be the opposite of that when I was a business owner.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I agree completely. But, you know, the other thing is like people like you and I, when we're like in a company instead of running the company, our natural motor is going to be like to give all and grind it out. And those people will like bubble up. Like I bet you couldn't cap you. Like you were going to get it done no matter what. And I was the same.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I like my team. They're great. They do a great job.
Well, good. Shout out to the Leaf Shave and the Smoosh team. Yeah. I mean, this is the last comment I was going to make is like, I think also when you're, you know, just a founder and in any type of business, like having the right teammates there, you know? And I hate to be like, oh, A players and only B players, right? But it's like, you just also have to make like really tough decisions when it's like not the right players.
You have to make tough decisions. And I also don't really love the A-B thing. I think it is so much more about just aligning what the job is with what like someone is at the level of production and desire. Like, you know, sometimes you just have to adjust your expectations for like a job. Yeah. And everyone's an A player if you're doing it right for like their job.
It's the right job for them.
Exactly.
Right.
So
totally. If that's something that they're passionate about, not trying to fit like what's the saying, like a circle into a box.
Yeah, exactly. And we got this guy, Billy. Shout out Billy. And we hired him as like a quality engineer, and he has done everything from like develop soap formulations to quality engineering to like warehouse manufacturing, and like he's just like one of those jack of all guys, and so helpful to have when you're a small company. And if you can find yourself a handful of Billies, that like makes a big difference.
We love Billies.
We love Billies.
Mine's a handful of Danny's and Kelly's.
Yeah.
It's the E's.
Those E's, that's the archetypal E's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go back to, okay, one thing I really wanted to touch on, and just in your expertise and what we were talking about offline, is like how your drive and your methods are so product-led. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that. Like, tell me more about how you're like more product-led than you are anything else.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it all starts. It starts and ends with product, and that's not just me. I know, but you know, a good encapsulation is in the eco space. You know, the more that we got into it, and I really like it. We have some really awesome peer companies that we kind of grew up with at the time that they're all still like in business and seemingly doing well today, and it's very fun to see that. And the ones that have survived, like Leaf, are the ones that lead with the right thing. So, for example, you can't just take a product and say, buy this because it is less wasteful, or buy it because this is more eco-friendly. You have to be like, buy this because this is a better solution. And the benefit of that is that it is going to be less wasteful. Mm-hmm. And I call this the paper straw problem. And it is something we've all probably experienced. Like, paper straws, they suck. And they're a less wasteful solution, but you're not going to get adoption because they just kind of suck. And that's why you still see plastic straws out there. And with Leaf, it was always about making a razor that could just shave better. Like, my favorite reviews aren't, oh, I switched to Leaf and now I don't throw plastic razors away. It's, I switched to Leaf and, oh my God, I've never had a shave this good. And also, crazy that I no longer throw plastic razors. Like, it has to lead with product. That's how firmly I believe it.
I mean, I trust you and I believe you too.
Okay. And how that like plays out is like for for Smoosh go to market, right? We didn't really know who the customer was going to be for this. I thought it was going to be for Leaf, but all of our marketing content tended to be like widget focused. That is just who I am, an engineer. It's like, I'm not necessarily sitting there looking at personas and like, oh, it's going to be the grandma and like, let's put her in an ad. I'm just going to like do a POV, show the product, and like, let's see who gets attracted to that product.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, a ton of people I didn't expect, like people who had some disabilities or issues with like reach and mobility in the shower. And now like, oh, that's interesting. Or some sensory challenges. I'm like, oh, I would have discovered that if I led with like a thesis. Instead, I lead with the product and the people find it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Now I'm like, want to get one for my dad too.
Oh gosh, yeah. My parents love their Smoosh.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, cause maybe because I'm so in like the brand stuff, you know what I mean? Like I forget about like the like accessibility pieces of it.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Tell me a little bit more. Like I know we're talking about like product led and like all of those pieces and like that kind of like marketing strategy. But what I'm really interested in is like, do you dabble in the influencer side of things? Like, and if you do, like how, being so product led, how would you find those types of affiliates and influencers to represent your brand?
Yeah, for Leaf, they've actually been a small but good part of our story from the beginning. And part of that is because of the space we stumbled into, the eco-friendly and sustainability space. There are influencers specifically, in that niche. And there are obviously most niches have like some sort of like community of that. And they're very earnest, like awesome people that are trying to share. I like the fact that they're like entrepreneurs in their own right, but also like they're just trying to like share better solutions for people, which comes at odds sometimes because a good example is last year, the de-influencing thing. And that really hit our community hard because our influencers are all about making less wasteful decisions. And it is at odds to say like, hey, I want like you to buy this thing so that you stop consuming, and so our community got hit with the de-influencing approach really hard. And most of our influencers were like, stop buying things. And that was funny.
And you're like,
like, I get it.
Can you like buy one leaf shave, please?
I know, like, well, just make this one last purchase and then you'll never have to buy anything. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think we have necessarily unlocked it at any interesting scale necessarily, but we've kept a small, tight group of people who are out in the community. It's just important for other folks to see your brand represented outside of just your brand channels.
Yeah.
We have a pretty tight-knit community on Instagram on our own channel, and we used TikTok heavily for like 2 years before it turned into whatever it is today. And
TikTok has like a really clutch SEO.
Yeah, it still surfaces everywhere on search, which is crazy. But like it used to be a top of funnel like awareness builder for us, and now it's just like literally. That's a whole story, which I could tell real quick if you want.
Please.
Okay, so I in 2021 launched the channel, and I was doing it, and I've always been like generally face of the brand publicly. And we hired someone last year who's been great, Jess, to run our socials now. I've taken a step back, but I'm out there like the 40-year-old guy just like making TikToks, like, oh, what's gonna happen? And I had this one video go viral pretty early on, like a few million views, and that was a game changer. Like that completely changed our account. It started growing rapidly, hundreds of thousands of followers within like of 6 months or so. And we were getting, regularly high hundreds or low millions of views every video. And it was a big discovery engine during the pandemic for our brand. And it filled the top of the funnel, and we were able to like convert them with performance marketing, the whole thing. Like it was working so well.
Yeah.
And then I rue the day. I made this one video that changed the course of our TikTok future. And it was this stupid little, not a talking video. It just like showed the razor, and I made these like sound effects like zip, zip, zip. And it was like 6 seconds long or something. And I guess one of the sound effects I made, like zerp or whatever, was a naughty word in another language, like maybe Arabic. And that video went viral, 20 plus million views in the Middle East. And ever since then, TikTok's algorithm thinks the only people that want to see Leaf Shave content are like dudes in the Middle East. and fine, but like we don't sell there. And so completely overnight, it went from our best top of funnel system to like nothing. We'll get hundreds of thousands of views, and it'll be like 5% US and 95% ex-US. And we've worked with them internally. No one could solve it. No one can figure it out. And we've essentially all but abandoned the channel.
That's so nuts. That's so nuts.
My heart is palpitating. I'm getting so worked up about this.
Oh my God, that's so nuts. Because it's like TikTok. Okay, so the thing about TikTok in general, right, is like when it works for you, it's the best. But getting to the point where it works for you and then like staying on like there is also the best for you, right? Oh my God. So like to then dip down and not be able to fix it.
No.
And nobody can figure out this fucking AI algorithm.
No. I don't even think they know.
Dude, I think you can talk to like Instagram, Facebook, any of these places. Nobody actually knows how the algorithm works. I once had somebody from LinkedIn on and we were talking about the LinkedIn algorithm. She was like, I don't even know.
Yeah, not surprised.
None of it, like we are being taken over by like AI algorithms on social. You cannot hack it anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, so you've abandoned the channel.
We have, essentially.
By TikTok, that's okay.
Yeah.
Remember when it took a nap for 12 hours? So
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I deleted it off my phone and
then couldn't get it back.
Yeah, exactly. Good riddance.
Dude, the amount of influencers that were like crying over TikTok, I was like, can you guys just go outside and touch some grass?
Touch some grass. And
just for 1 minute.
Log into Reels and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and then you'll be fine and then come back. Okay, so what I am curious about, besides social, is what's next for both brands? Like,
well,
take over the world?
No, not really. Probably. That would be nice, but
do a
like,
third.
The reality is like, yeah, we're not going to take over the world. For Leaf, we're profitable. It is kind of Smoosh's sugar daddy right now. Like it's paying the bills for Smoosh. While Smoosh becomes profitable, we'll get there eventually. And so we just need to grow and maintain. I just want to be a good steward of these businesses. Like I don't know if there's an exit for anything. But I want my employees to have their salaries paid. We do like profit distributions to the team. Like we just want to have like a good life. And that's what I want.
Yeah, I love that. It's actually a really beautiful story you're telling me, truthfully, because you're creating sustainable products, but you're also creating a really great work environment too.
I hope so. I mean, we don't have the hugest team. We have 13 people between the two companies. But I think everyone's happy to work for us. I hope so.
I know. You're like,
look, we're not perfect, but we try.
Nobody is perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. But it's really nice to see a company take care of their employees, though, and like value the work-life balance, And I think like us, like just founders who are doing the things, I think that's important for like the next generation of like companies that are coming out there. It's not all about corporate America.
No. There can be a different way to do it.
Yeah. I know.
Cool.
So do you think Leaf and Smoosh retail? Tell me, like...
I mean, honestly, I used to think, yeah, of course, like Leaf retail. And then the reality of the world beats you down and the price point on our razors is too high for retail. It's just like, that's the message that we've gotten. And so, we're in a few hundred doors, but they're all boutique shops, which is great. I love that. But I don't see a national retail distribution unless it's like a different part of our product lineup. Maybe not the devices, but perhaps like the consumable side, which we are investing in.
Yeah.
Smoosh, absolutely. I cannot wait to go national on anywhere that wants to take us. Costco, if you're listening.
Walmart,
let's go.
Are we going to Bentonville?
Let's go to Bentonville.
I'll be a supporter outside.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see Smoosh in like a Walmart, a Target.
Smoosh is so good. It is so good. Everyone needs to be smooshing.
Yeah, I want to smoosh.
Okay, you're going to smoosh.
I'm going home to go get some smooshes.
This is a little inside baseball, but as part of our like subscription, we've been thinking about like fun little delight along the way as we ship things out. And we're developing this sticker, which is it's a smoosh line in a bubble bath that's using a little person to like wash themselves. And it's just like this crazy little illustration. I'm like, it's so fun. Like we can have so much more fun with Smoosh than we can Leaf because it's a little bit more serious of a brand. So it's very, very fun.
That's so fun to have like two different
Yeah.
brand types though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, definitely different.
That's how I'm like kind of developing out all of my like I would say brands, because like Open Late's its own brand, and then I'm like developing out my sleep supplement.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But I want to make it very campy. If you know, like,
Yeah, I can see that.
Are you a RuPaul fan or yeah?
I got you.
I know. No, like everything I do, I want to make it very campy. Like I feel like there's like so many things out on the market that are just so prim and fucking proper.
Right.
Let's make it weird and different and like sit on the shelves and be the weirdos on the shelves.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, at least for Sweet Rum, and then even if you look at like my branding of like Open Late, it's very like, how can we make this the weirdest thing ever and not just like this prim and proper agency?
I love weird. You gotta stand out.
Dude, gotta fucking stand out.
You just stand for something.
You gotta stand for something.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest piece about like developing things, you know?
You have to stand for something.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm just remembering that you told me to look here every now and then.
No, you're fine. But I will clip that one.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my friend, we're actually at the end of the road.
That's crazy. This was only 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it felt like it, right? But when you come on the podcast, we become besties.
Yes.
So
We did it.
we did it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Coffee to coffee. I want you, before we end though, tell people where they can pick up Leaf and Smoosh.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So it's Leaf. You can find Leaf at leafshave.com. And we make razors for everybody, by the way. Not men, not women. It's like whoever you are, wherever you're shaving. And then it's Get Smoosh, SMOOSH.com. And that's where you get cleaner.
Great. I appreciate that. And are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn.
Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, X, Adam Simone, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it might be ADM Simone.
We'll link it in the show notes.
Thanks.
Well, Adam, I appreciate you coming on and sharing some coffee chats with me and sharing all about your brands.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to anybody tuning in, I will catch you all next week. We have some more fun and interesting guests in New York City. Toodles. Dang, we've made it to the end of the podcast and you're still here. So thank you so much for listening to Above the Fold podcast. For the best of this episode and every episode, be sure to follow us on Instagram and my YouTube channel. And for deeper dives on the secrets to brand success, don't forget to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, Sunday Postcards. All right, my dudes and gals, see you next week.